All right, we're going to go ahead and get started at 6 o'clock. So thank you all for coming out tonight. We're here to talk about a developer request to build some apartments. It involves a future land use amendment as well as a rezoning. But before we get started, I'd like to go over and hand it over to District 1 Commissioner Nicole Wilson for any comments.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I actually was a little bit startled because I'm here really because you all and because we have an applicant that wants to bring this to the community. So it's not my night, but you all know that if you have any questions or if you don't already, please make sure you subscribe to our newsletter. We try to make sure that we're keeping you apprised of anything coming down the pipeline, and we try to make sure that we connect you with anybody that you might need at the county. So I'm going to hand it back to the planning staff now and make sure that you're getting all the information you need.
All right, my name is Jason Sorensen. I'm with the Planning Division of Orange County. I'm going to go through the request here and then hand it over to the applicant, and then we'll have questions and answers. If you need to use the restrooms, they're in the rear of the cafeteria. So again, we're here to talk about a future land use amendment as well as a rezoning. The request is to go to Village Future Land Use, which is all of Horizon West, as well as to change the zoning to Plan Development. And again, all of Horizon West has the Village Future Land Use and PD zoning. Currently, they're in the Reedy Creek District, or what was the Reedy Creek District. So they're asking to become part of Village H, part of Horizon West, for a request to do 1,410 multifamily units. And this is the subject property here, as you all know. And here's the aerial. So some of the portion of the property is conservation. You'll see that in a later map. Again, we are south of Hartzog and east of Attainable Road. So currently, Reedy Creek Improvement District, the request is to change it to Apartment District in Village H. And again, the southern portion of the property is going to be conservation. Again, the zoning is currently Reedy Creek, but it's going to become, or they're requesting to make it Plan Development District. And this is the land use plan. As part of the process, they have to submit a land use plan that contains the development program, the criteria for development, as well as this is the land use plan map showing the subject property and any important details such as the conservation area, as well as the entry and exit points for the development. And you can see that here indicated by the arrows. So they are requesting 4 waivers from Orange County Code. The first waiver is to allow vehicle parking within 750 feet of a building in lieu of 150 feet. And the applicant can go over a little bit more detail why they're requesting these waivers, so I'll leave that for the applicant to go through those details, but some of them have to do with stormwater design. The third one there is for a parking waiver to allow less parking than what our code requires. This is the process. This is the process. I don't know why it's changing. There must be a timing on there that's misbehaving. So I apologize. That's not supposed to happen. So I wish I could keep it there. Yeah, there's a timing on it that's not supposed to be. Just this game. So there's going to be 4 public hearings, right? They have to be transmitted and then they have to be adopted. So the first hearing is going to be a transmittal hearing, and that's going to be in front of the local planning agency, otherwise known as the Planning and Zoning Commission. That's going to be the first public hearing, and that's going to be there where you have an opportunity to come out and speak for or against this project. And then it would go to the Board of County Commissioners for transmittal. If they transmit it, then we send it up to the state for their review, and then they send it back to us, and then we go to adoption hearings. If the board decides not to transmit it, then the project does not move forward, and they'd have to reapply in order for the request to be considered again. So again, this is the process. Here we are at the community meeting, September 6th. Again, the first public hearing is going to be the LP. We don't have the date for that yet. When we do have a date for that, all of you who will receive notices in the mail will receive notices again, as well as if you signed up today on the sign-in sheet. So, and also, so that's for the future land use request. The plan development rezoning application, same process, except for the fact they don't have to go to the transmittal. The transmittal portion is just for the future land use amendment. If it is transmitted, then the plan development rezoning would marry up with the future land use request for the adoption hearings. Again, don't have a date yet for that Board of County Commissioner hearing, and if you want to contact any of the commissioners to give them your comments, Commissioner Wilson is one vote of the Board of County Commissioners, so you're encouraged to reach out, let the commissioners and the mayor know your thoughts for or against this project. Again, here are their email addresses. It's pretty simple, District 1 or District 2 at ocfl.net. That concludes the staff presentation. The project planner is here, Adriana. Her email is here as well as her phone number if you have any comments for staff. And I'll hand it over to Kathy Hadaway, who is the applicant.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you. I'm Kathy Hadaway with Walt Disney Imagineering, and I'm pleased to be here tonight to share information with you about Disney's Attainable Housing community. First of all, I had to tell Jason, this is my first community meeting, I think since COVID. And the last time I had a community meeting, it was easels and boards. So this is very high-tech, very impressive. So, whole new world. Disney is pleased to be able to contribute to the need for affordable and attainable housing in Central Florida. This contribution and initiative have been in the planning for a long time, and the applications that we're going to talk about tonight are the next step in bringing that community to life. As Jason indicated, we have filed 2 applications in support of the residential community, the future land use change and the plan development zoning application. I think it's important to note that our plan development rezoning application is under the Horizon West Code. So this community will have to meet the Horizon West standards, the same standards for design and architecture and development as any other apartment community in Horizon West. Disney is contributing the land for the development and managing the entitlements process. Once the entitlement applications, this future land use application and PD zoning application are complete, then the Michaels organization will step in to construct, own, and manage the community. The Michaels organization is a nationally recognized developer of attainable and affordable residential communities in Florida and across the nation. While we have been focused on the entitlements process, the Michaels organization is focused diligently on the design process. They are working hard to design the community, the site, the buildings, and the amenities for the residents. While we don't have any of their details to share with you tonight, we will share them when they're available. To make sure that you have access to that information, we have a handout that's here on the second table, right in front of the gentleman with the blue shirt and the camera, that we hope you'll pick up and take with you tonight. It has a QR code that will take you to a Disney Florida website solely focused on information and updates on this community. So that's a great way to stay in touch and stay on top of all the new information that's released. So I'm happy to be here tonight, happy to answer any questions you have about the applications we've submitted.
All right, so we're going to move on to our question and answer portion. I know a lot of you probably have a lot of comments, so the best way to do this is, if somebody already asked your question or stated your comment, preferably it'd just be once. When we get repetitive with the comments and questions, we could be here a while. Actually, we can't be here a while because we have to be out of here because of the janitorial staff has to clean up and everything. So let's, I think the best way to do this, since we only have one microphone, is if those that have comments or questions could line up. Or actually, we have a microphone there. Adriana can go around to those. If you just want to raise your hand, or if anybody that has a question or comment, please stand up and start to line up, and we'll get your questions or comments answered. If you could come up here, we'll give you the microphone.
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of it. Hello. I don't like microphones. So my first question is, how is this going to be different than the more than a dozen apartment complexes that are all in the same price range and to a much higher standard than the affordable framework that you're laying out? This piece of property was set up originally to reclaim water back to the aquifer. And you're now saying that you're going to put houses, 1,400 multi-use houses. We've got apartments in the area, multiple, plus still quite a few in build that are half empty. How is this going to be different? And how is this going to affect the infrastructure? Because we're light on police, fire, water, all of the infrastructure pieces. So that's the other piece of the puzzle that we would like to know.
Thank you. I will try to answer your question, all your questions, and cover all the subjects. If I forget anything, just please raise your hand and remind me. I think the most significant way that this community will be different is that it is an attainable housing development. The residents who live there will be income qualified. They will be in the 50% to 100% average median income for this area. So I don't believe there are any other projects in communities in Horizon West that are specifically attainable housing communities. The question about the design, I mentioned that this will meet all of the Horizon West design standards. Architecture, site design, the exact same level. And I can tell you that there is a lot of care and being put into making this a great community for the residents who will live there. You mentioned public services. So we will have to meet, this project will have to meet the exact same requirements as any other residential development in Orange County. There has to be public services available to serve the community before the impacts of that community come online. So we will have to meet those exact same requirements. And yes, the property was formerly used for a rib site, a rapid infiltration basin. It's no longer being used for that purpose.
All right, any other questions or comments?
Hi, yes, good afternoon. So I actually have two questions. So knowing that Walt Disney World property is 45 square miles just within this area here, why is it this area that's already oversaturated with apartments? Why is it here that was selected versus other areas where there's more infrastructure and it just seems like it makes more sense?
Others than I determined that this was the best location for this attainable housing community. This initiative has been in the plans for a long time. I can tell you a lot of thought and consideration went into the best location in terms of having access to services, having access to schools. This particular property is situated between Flamingo Crossings and the Horizon West Village Village Center. So it has services and needs that any resident would require, both to the north and to the south.
Right, so it does sound like there's thought put into the residents that will be living there, but what about the rest of the residents that live in this area that's, again, greatly saturated with these apartment complexes. I mean, Disney seems like they're really big on community involvement, things like that, yet we've heard nothing from them directly.
Well, we feel that this is a great opportunity to contribute to the need specifically for attainable housing. And
What
so
is attainable? What is attainable mean?
this community will be, the residents will have to meet income requirements. So the income range will be those individuals and families whose income is within the 50% to 100% range of the average median income in
What's that
this
number?
particular area.
What is that number?
43,000 to 85,700.
Thank you. I didn't love
Say that again.
I have one more question while I'm here. So it also, sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Traffic study.
Sorry, I can't recall. I'll come back.
Anybody else?
Hi. I have two things. So Disney is donating the property, so they're the Trojan horse, so to speak, if I understand this correctly, and they're going to pass it off to a management company called Michaels.
She didn't
So-
say donate. There's the catch. She didn't say donate, it was pass it off. So Disney's gonna end up with some repercussion or income from this property most likely.
But they're using the Disney name to
Yes.
make it
Yeah.
sound.
That's exactly what they're doing.
And the other thing is, I myself, I've only been here in Florida for 2 years. I'm in the Waterlay subdivision, and I think common sense or greed has overrode common sense here. Horizon West, to me, has done a very poor job in the management of their apartment complexes. If you get in your car and just drive within a 10-mile radius of here, you're going to see other communities, like Independence, which isn't very far from here. Beautifully landscaped, magnificent entrance coming in. But if you go directly across the street here on Avalon Drive to the Waterlay apartments called Ascend, I drove in there this past weekend. That is absolutely, positively terrible. They have a huge water tower in the middle of everything, which is probably needed, but in the same respect, nothing to camouflage it. And the apartment complex is so tight on one another. There's no green space. There's no green space coming off the road to make it look like beautiful. And there's nothing here. It's row after row after row of apartments. I don't really believe that Horizon West is doing a good job in maintaining the beautiful entrance 2 years ago that I drove into in the Waterlay subdivision, and it's changing, but it's changing for the worst. And again, going back to, I believe the greed overrides the common sense. Where is that? I mean, it doesn't even look like Florida anymore. And other communities, older communities, look more attractive than our own brand new Waterlay community. And the addition of another 1,400 units is unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. And there's the whole state of Florida to put affordable housing. It doesn't have to be in our backyard.
That's right.
Has, they taken in consideration the additional traffic? If you've gone on from, like, I've moved on Avalon, I've been here almost 2 to 3 years, and now there's more stop signs going up. And honestly, Hartzog Road is a nice road. It's not packed, but now with 1,400 more homes or multi-use homes, it's going to be packed. Are you going to be widening the road so that it won't be a long way to go, just to go to Flamingo so we can enjoy the other areas of Flamingo Crossing? I read on the website about how the schools are basically, the ones that have been built within the last 2 years are at capacity. Are you going to be adding another school to accommodate the kids in this place? And then my last thing is, like she said, there are a lot of places. I go down, 192, and there are a lot of abandoned resorts and everything. Why haven't you picked those areas? And then plus, you talk about the median income of 43,000. Most people that income can't even afford cars. So how are these people going to get transportation? If you're really looking to accommodate affordable living, you would put it on that street where there is public transportation and stuff like that, and not clog up our area.
Thank you for your comments and questions. I'll first answer the question about transportation and traffic. So there was one of the other slides, the land use plan that is part of our PD zoning application. It shows that we'll have 3 access points in and out of the community. 1 on Avalon and 2 on Hartzog Road. So those individuals that just want to go to Flamingo Crossings or go down south to work at Disney or one of the other resort areas will not be getting on Avalon Road. So that's one way. We will be distributing the access in and out of the community. The bigger question, though, is road capacity. So every development in Orange County and really in Florida has to meet what's called concurrency, which means that the project cannot get approved unless capacity will be available on the roads for the traffic that will be generated by the project at the time it comes online. So we will have to follow the county's concurrency requirements. If it's determined that additional improvements would be required to accommodate the traffic from the community, the developer will be responsible for their share of those improvements. With regard to school capacity, we have received an evaluation and determination from Orange County Public Schools that capacity will be available for the students that will be generated by this community.
171% capacity.
They don't build schools until they're at capacity,
When it comes to the schools, there's a couple schools that are coming online, so there's not capacity available now, but there is capacity available when those schools come online within the next year or 2.
I thought they were already at or over.
the one that's being built is
Or 71% over capacity in this one, right?
So again, there's new schools coming online that are going to relieve
They're
the
going to relieve the
overcrowd.
current situation.
So when Orange County Public Schools does their determination, they account for what is already planned to be adjusted utilization for existing projects that are planned. And then they do a calculation for adjusted utilization if this project is approved, and they've determined that capacity is available based on the relief schools and take into account other projects that are already coming online.
So we have portables all over the place.
So are these schools going to be built by the time this is built?
Yes, so the applicant has stated to me that they don't plan to have these units come online until the year 2026.
And when is this scheduled to be built?
2026, the apartments, 2026.
2026.
Yes.
And Orange County guaranteed that those schools will be online by 2026.
2024, I think, is the middle school. The new elementary school is going to be 2024.
One elementary school coming.
Aren't they at capacity when they're built? They don't build them until they're at capacity, correct? So how are they gonna fit into that school if they're built when they're at capacity? They don't build until they're at capacity.
So a lot of this, so how this works across the county, we see it a lot, is that schools become overcrowded, they get the portables, and then a relief school comes online and relieves some of those other schools, and a lot of times there is capacity still available in that relief school for additional projects.
Well, CPS never has enough budget for the schools that are being built. That's not how it goes. In reality, I'm sorry, but that's not how it goes.
Next question.
Yeah, so my question is also around transportation as well. So what I could find online, it looked like the transportation and traffic study was done in June of this year, is that correct?
If you're referring to the traffic study that was submitted as part of the original applications, that study was done for the future land use amendment. So it is, I don't recall the date of that study, but it was done in preparation for that submittal of the application. However, a more refined traffic study is required as part of the PD zoning. And then an even further refinement is required when we get to the concurrency application process.
Okay, so my biggest question was that's obviously when school's not in session, and I think everybody that lives around here knows that that's, one of our peak times a day. So thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. So I moved to the Orlando area about 5.5 years ago, and I moved as a Disney or Walt Disney World hourly cast member. And at the time I joined a Facebook group that was apartment hunting, and I stayed on that Facebook group just to kind of stay connected and know what's going on. And the posts are really scary to me. And I'm really aware of the housing crisis as someone who very rarely can afford an apartment to live in. Since COVID, rents on average have increased 30%. I am a working, successful professional, and it is very, very difficult for me to afford to live alone in a one-bedroom apartment. But on this Facebook group, there are people who are still hourly cast members who are desperate for someone to fill a bedroom so that they can afford a $600 rent, who are desperate to share a car because they can't afford to get to work. I saw someone who was posting, who was a single mom who had 2 kids, and she was begging for someone to have just one bedroom I can use. I'll share a bathroom. I think all of your concerns are so valid. Your infrastructure concerns are valid. Your community concerns are valid. Super valid. But one thing I would ask you to remember is that you mentioned just not in our backyard. These people are already in your backyard. They drive from other parts of Orange County, from Osceola County, from Lake County. They drive to work in your backyard every day. They are the engine of Central Florida. If you adjust for median income, the greater Orlando area is the 6th least affordable city in the United States to live in. So, I mean, I would say, I hope people get paid more. But this is an unpopular opinion, but I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited for that, at least some people in that Facebook group, to be able to find units that they can afford to live. And
they won't be able to afford them. The cheapest unit is going to be $1,000.
Yeah.
So you're not.
that is significantly more, please don't interrupt, but that's significantly more affordable as someone who's looked around here for apartments, significantly more affordable than you'd be able to find right now. Significantly more affordable. And I would love for them to be affordable, not just attainable, to your point. I would love for them to be more affordable. But they are more affordable than what's on the market right now. And so I would love to see people in that Facebook group be able to find a place to live and be able to drive a lot less to work. It's actually less strain on road infrastructure because they're driving on fewer miles of roads. These are neighbors that are already here, already work here, already live in our communities. This just means they can live on a little less land, a little more efficiently, and a little closer to where they work. Thank you.
Disney can
Hi, good evening. My name is Gonzalo. I live here in this community. Nothing against the last person. I really respect that opinion, but look at that image right there. If you look at the quadrants of Avalon Road and Hartzog Road, divided in 4, 3 out of 4, this is people that rent spaces here. This does not represent the majority of people that bought the homeowners of this community. So how is the impact on this on possibly one of the only or the largest investments some of these folks have, including me, is your house, right? this whole community, the master plan on Horizon West really doesn't represent what it's happening here. This is a cluster of just rental apartments. People cannot buy this property. The only people that's making money out of this is the big builders and the people that own this. So I understand there's an economic problem and we all suffer about it, but this is just overcrowded with that type of housing here. It is, and it's outnumbering the rest around it. So if you go up Sale Road and all of that and Independence, all of that area has been almost like exclusively secluded out of all this initiative of apartments. So it's really strange. So that's going to be a burden in our education system. That's going to be, I think it's 0.289, almost a third of people living here are going to have kids. That's going to be 400 plus kids in the school that is not even built now. And by the time I'm very aware how OCPS work because I'm a project manager in construction. These schools, when they plan it and they build it, they're already over capacity when they finish them. So they have to be all of the fancy things and put modulars in just to house the kids. They're not even there yet. So we're talking about this school has about 500 kids over what is supposed to be designed, and now we're bringing 400 extra. So I don't see this plan adding up at all from my perspective. So those are my concerns. Infrastructure is another concern. I believe there are more areas, maybe possibly owned by Disney, closer to urban layers. So downtown, think of cities. That's the type of area this should be aiming for. Because in a downtown, you walk more, you have stuff accessible. Typically, and I was a renter. I came here 10 years ago from Venezuela. I was a renter. Sadly, this is sad but true, but a renter situation is not as stable as a person that is purchasing a house. That's a big commitment. And the type of I'm not saying anything because this is like just a staple and I don't want to generalize, but sometimes, and the majority of times, the crime, all the stuff that happens in places that people rent is way higher. I lived in Celebration for almost 7 years, and when I was trying to get my first loan, FHA loan, I was looking to condos where people live. I was turned out by FHA because they say, well, too many people rent there. You can't purchase there. So there's a ratio that has to be kept to even afford buying a house. So this is creating a different issue for this whole area, and that's dangerous. Thank you.
I echo a lot of what everybody's been talking about as far as the volume of people this is going to bring. Just south of this, Disney's built a huge complex that's essentially year-round, has thousands of people in it. Western Way is just, it needs to be a 4-lane road in each direction to accommodate the volume of traffic that's going one way and the other. That's not too far from this. And now, on top of the other apartments that we're building in the area, others are building, this is going to be added. There's an added burden there. There are people, I live just on the other side of the high school that's shown on the top there. Seidel has become such a mess in the morning just without any of this now, with even other things that continue to come online, that our development has people speeding through it to cut the light, which is a safety issue, which Orange County can't do anything about other than, maybe put somebody there to ticket people. That's one example. The gentleman before me, all of his points were valid, as were everybody else's, including the young lady who spoke of, having something affordable. But I think the affordability and what these cast members are in a position to have to contend with is really something that the company needs to deal with too. I feel like this is a Band-Aid that they're putting forth that's ultimately, for whatever it's worth, saving public face that they're doing something. I'll say thank you for affording us the opportunity to have this dialogue, but cynically, in my mind, given who's behind it, I don't think there's anything that can be done. But I think it's important for us to voice the concerns that we do, because it's not right. It's not where this should be built. And I don't have an answer for you this evening of where that should be, but it's adding a complexity to an already complex situation.
Hello, Charles Hassel. I got two comments and then a question. One, first on the schools. I heard a lot that there's capacity. I spoke with Pam Gould. I've been in a lot of these meetings, and for everyone in the room, when they say there is capacity in the schools for all of District 1. When you add up all the seats in all the schools in District 1, there is capacity. But 100%, there is not capacity where this is going. That school, where they will be going to school is right there. It's 171% over capacity. The facts. You can look at the portable stuff side. So I would ask one, why would you want to put it here where it is already overcrowded? Two, there are new schools getting built. There is a Waterloo school getting built and one down south. Waterloo is to solve the overcrowding at Hamlin Elementary. The one down south does not solve this. So whoever goes there is going to be going to the same school, overcrowded schools that our kids are going to. I just wanted to clear the air with that. Number two, rent is expensive. For the lady that was here, that is true. It is. I spoke to the county commissioners about there's a program that helps the down payment on a home that the county sponsors. There's a program. There is. There's an option. I'm just saying, it's a possible solution. It's an option because rent's going to go up. It's going to keep going up. There's a lot of demand here. My question, a year ago I looked at the ArcGIS maps for counties, and this was actually zoned further south in the Flamingo Crossing housing there, or Flamingo Crossing shopping there, near there. How did it get put up here and who approved that?
When you say it was zoned, and can you clarify? I'm not sure what you're referring to.
I looked at the ArcGIS map. It's a Disney multifamily housing. It was west of the Flamingo Crossing area, and it was a square box. Somewhere along the line, it went from there to here, and I don't recall it going to the BCC or getting it approved.
You're saying proposed, because it's not approved yet. It's proposed here. It's not.
But still.
The first proposal he's saying was somewhere else.
Yeah.
It was another area.
Right, well, our GIS maps aren't going to reflect what's being proposed here tonight, because they haven't been approved yet. So the GIS maps aren't going to.
But still, how did it get moved? And why?
I'm not aware of the project you're referring to. It's further south.
It's the same project.
I think he's saying it was originally shown in another area, and over at Genesis, as you're describing, it's now in a new proposed location here. He's asking, how did it go from the first proposed location, as I understand his question, to the current proposed location? I hope I...
Yeah, and before you answer, you understand my concern. First proposed area, not a school problem. Moving it here is a school problem, which forces more schools, our tax dollars. It's kind of progress and abuse, so that's why I asked the question.
I'll try to answer your question based on the information regarding any multifamily development that Disney has been involved with. The applications tonight in this location is the only location that has ever been announced for this particular community. The other Disney multifamily development that you may be thinking about is the Flamingo Crossings apartments to the south, down Hartzog Road in the Flamingo Crossings area. Those were approved by Orange County a number of years ago, and they are developed and have residents living in them. Those are the only two Disney multifamily apartment communities that have been, that Disney's been involved with.
We can talk offline, but to be clear, it's not those. It was in a forest, and now it's here.
Okay, sure. And I just want to clarify something. We have the school capacity determination that is based on each individual school area. We have that determination here. I can also email it if you want copies of that. That's a determination analysis that they do, but we can talk more about that for anybody that has questions on that. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, thank you again for this opportunity for the community to come out and voice our concerns. I
I come to you as the face that doesn't fit any clean demographics, but at the same time has been all demographics. We came here as military retirees. We are raising the first generation of Horizon Westians, or whatever phrase it is. We've got a 4- and 6-year-old in VPK, and also first grade here at Water Spring, and a wonderful Kiddie Academy here of Waterley and Horizon West. We are so blessed to have this exceptional care and educational opportunities for our children here. But I think my one reservation, having been a renter, having at one time in my life, to be honest, having been on food stamps, having been without reliable transportation, without a job, life changes with one email, one phone call, whether we like it or not. Money doesn't always guarantee security. And one of the aspects, and everything's been so articulate, brought up so many wonderful statistics, but one of my questions is, are the kids that come to live here, are the kids that are in these apartments and all the other surrounding apartments here, if they even just want to go to visit each other, are they going to have to cross a bypass? You know, where they already have so much traffic, they can't even go from neighborhood to neighborhood to see their kids, you know, to visit friends. We are already overburdening our schools. We have such exceptional educators. Why do we keep doing this to them? That is just a statement and my personal opinion, but these are amongst all the things that I think we're all running through our heads. And I want to know that my kids at 4 and 6 are going to have the opportunity to have actual roots here in Horizon West. We want to be part of the founding community here. We're part of the American Legion, we're part of Cub Scouts. We're setting down roots, and we want to see that everybody that wants to be part of this community can actually access everything that's wonderful about this community that brought us all here. Thank you.
Hello. Hi, my name is Mike Bustillos. I've been in Orange County maybe 20 years now. I don't think it's exactly 20 years. And I've been out here in Horizon West for maybe 5 years now. And in that time, I have seen my rent go up 40%. And currently, I am still 40% below market rate for my unit. So if I moved out and back into the same apartment, I would not be able to afford where I live. And we live on 2 incomes, very good incomes. And so I feel a lot of sympathy for all the concerns that everybody's raising. And I know that school overcrowding is a huge issue. I was a public school teacher for a decade. I had a classroom with 75 kids in it one year. I can relate to the burdens of an overcrowded school. But the solution to overcrowded schools is more schools and not less housing, in my opinion. And if we continue to force the people that bring the value to this area, the reason this area is popular is because of what is here. And what is here is Disney. Disney and its surrounding amenities and infrastructure is what makes this area appealing. And if we continue to require the people that make that possible to live in rundown motels in Kissimmee, then I don't think we're helping anybody. I don't think we help ourselves. I hear all the concerns that everybody has, but I want to voice my support. I am very in favor of the attainable housing. I wish it was even more affordable, because I want the people who make our area valuable to be able to reap some of the benefits of that value. I want them to be able to raise their kids in an area that has nice schools like this, just like we get to. And you have my support. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, Disney has other properties.
Yeah.
All right, hi guys. Thank you so much. Coming from the world of theme park entertainment years ago, I understand, and I think there's a problem that has to be fixed. I mean, I think they need to, pay more money, to the people, but that is not what we're here for today. What we're here is to talk about this piece of property here. I have a concern. Number one, does Disney own this right now?
Yes.
Okay, so they bought this property knowing all of this drainage area and everything was there, and it's not going to be used anymore? Is that the condition now?
What?
All the filtration, the water filtration and everything, I just want to be sure that's not going to be, they're just
Yes.
going to get rid of all that?
I stated earlier,
It's going away?
is no longer being used for that
Okay.
purpose.
All right, because when I looked up how much those cost, I was very concerned. I'm like, oh no, let's use them. Let's try to help the aquifer. Let's do the things that we can do to help. But I understand if it's already not working. I understand if we're not going to use that. However, I do worry, with this space and the way that it's designed, and our schools and things like that, the things people were talking about the schools. When you look at the schools and the crowded, how they're overcrowded as it is, I was a teacher for years, also, but looking at that and then seeing they're going to put 1,400 units and they're expecting like 400 kids from those units, well, that means less, like most people, some people have 1 kid, some people have 2, some people have 0, that kind of thing. But I just want to make sure that all the schools aren't so overtaxed that there's no way, to help them. Because right now we've gotten behind with students, being just overpopulated, teachers being overwhelmed and leaving. We don't want to see that happen. So that's the big concern to me, along with the traffic going in and out of these. It seems like a lot, and it makes me wonder too, if Disney is going to do something like this, why don't they do it where they have the other, down at Flamingo Crossing, where all their village is already there, their buses run, all of that, which honestly people could use as transportation, which is very helpful. Because,
Or on their property.
so basically, I think, I just think there's other avenues. And then the final thing I'd like to say is, if they would like to do something like that, attainable housing, then maybe have the same type program, but have grants for different people to apply for, to help them be able to be in those units along the way. That's my ideas.
May I? Not thank you to me, thank you to her. I just want to make one clarification point. I've heard a lot of references to Disney employees. I just want to be very clear that this community is not limited to Disney employees. This is a community that will be available to all the residents of Central Florida. It's the people that we all know. It's the jobs and the teachers and the people that work for the fire department and the police department. It's people from all walks of life, individuals and families. So this is not a Disney employee community. This is a contribution to Central Florida.
Isn't Disney getting paid for this?
I have a lot of concerns about the congestion, I really do, but I just want to bring up one point. I'm all for attainable and affordable housing. It's important, but I don't think it needs to be right in this area. I would love to live in Ellsworth. I can't afford it. I'd love to live in Kings Point. I can't afford it. Put it someplace a little bit more affordable and not where you're going to piss off the entire community because we work hard to afford these houses and we pay a lot of money for it. So affordable housing is important. I totally support it. I just don't see why it needs to be right next to houses that start at 500,000 and go to over $1 million. Put it in a better area. And I will also tell you, I'm deeply concerned about what it's going to look like. Those college housing apartments look terrible. I mean, that just reminds me of being back in New York and going, past all that housing going into the city. It's awful. The question that popped into my head though is, will this qualify for Section 8 housing?
No, this community will not participate in the federal Section 8 voucher program.
Thank you.
My name is Marcos. I've been in the neighborhood for about a year. I echo the concerns of everybody. I have kids in the school system. I think that with all the numbers have already been said. My comments more for the community. This meeting is more for our representative, Nicole. That's for her to take our input. She cannot lobby with the other members of the board. to vote against this. So if everybody here wants to fight this proposal, you need to show up at the BCC meeting and any of the other meetings that where there is public comment in order to make your voice heard. So this is for us. This is for Nicole and ourselves only. Whenever you do get there, please make sure you have your statistics and your facts, because those are the things that they're looking for. They're not looking for feelings. Feelings do matter up to a certain point, but at the end of the day, we need to back up the facts, you know, that our schools are overtaxed, that the roads are not ready for this type of development. So that's pretty much all I have to say.
And
Just
email
be
all
aware.
representatives.
And also, yes, email the mayor and the other members with your concerns. That's the only way that we're going to be heard. So this, again, this is for us and for Nicole. Thank you, Nicole, for providing this for us.
Hi, my name's Katie. Thank you again for this opportunity. My sister and I moved here from Orange County, California 2.5 years ago to escape overcrowding, and we specifically chose Horizon West because it was supposed to have a percentage or ratio of apartments to single-family homes to townhouse. And it seems like our representative Nicole is constantly outvoted by the other board members, and so Avalon has become apartment row. And if we wanted that density of housing, we'd move to downtown Orlando or go back to Los Angeles.
No, you wouldn't want to go there.
Yeah, I know. We both work really hard. I'm a nurse. She works in oncology research to own our townhouse. We're 2 years on it, super proud of it. But we live in Waterley, and Waterley was not designed to handle the traffic with the Publix of 1,400 additional units. Because now our problem getting in and out of our development, which is our main road to access Hartzog, Avalon, etc., we have to go out the main entrance. Now you're going to add 1,400 units that are going to shop at Publix, which is not a problem per se, but how are you going to fix our roads to be able to access our homes that we worked really hard to afford?
So actually, I don't think the transportation and the schools or anything has to do with your development, because that's up to the school board and us getting them and to the commissioners and to the traffic department. But as far as the development goes, when you are, sorry guys, I think this is going to be a done deal anyway. I've worked with so many, like you said, apartments going down Avalon. I've been to every meeting, even gone to the BCC, and yeah, it happens. But within that, as you know, Avalon is supposed to be a 4-lane road constructed. So I guess working with the traffic department to make sure there's, you know, traffic going in and a separate lane coming in, or a traffic signal there. Same with coming out onto Hartzog, making sure that when you're working with the development that there's room, green space to put roads in and out and not have them be afterthoughts as Avalon Road is. And also in the future, not just affordable housing and apartments, which actually I think they should go to just cast members and not open to anybody else. I think cast members are the ones working the magic to that's made us all come here and try to work for the mouse, and or even the Universal kids, the team members. But they can't afford. I mean, I have people living. I have an extra house over here, and I have Disney kids living with, working in my house, living in my house, and I know they're sharing rooms just because they're sleeping on couches. Somebody's, you know, they're couch surfing because there isn't affordable places for them to live. But the place is, please look at doing townhomes, affordable townhomes for cast members. That way they get a piece of ownership, they become homeowners, they're not just renters, and they take a stake in the community. And I think all along there, I think some of these developers need to look at affordable townhomes for folks and not just apartments.
I'm a resident of Waterley. We moved into Horizon West 2.5 years ago. And since I've been here, we've just been smothered with overdevelopment. It's insane. I mean, the schools we've talked about, the roads we've talked about. Turn on your cell phone, try to get a signal.
Yeah.
And so I understand that people that need attainable housing will benefit from this. I understand that Disney will benefit from this, and I certainly understand that the developer will benefit from this. But my question is a simple one. How am I going to benefit from this?
I'm not? No answer? There's no benefit to me?
No, there isn't. There's your answer.
I'm a resident of Waterloo, and a former fire marshal in New York. We had a standard of 3 minutes. It's a national standard of 3 minutes to get from when the bell rings to where we're going. Because it takes 6 minutes for a room to go from top to bottom to be fully engulfed in flames. So I want to know how we're going to be protected. If firefighters are here in this new development helping 1,400 other families, how can we be covered adequately? Are there any plans for more protection? I know someone alluded to it earlier about the fire and police protection, but that's a huge concern.
So, to answer that, there is a fire station that's not built yet. It is planned to go in the village center right here. So that, I don't know if that addresses.
Okay, so how many people will work there? How many trucks will be there? And can they cover this area that we have? Not even this new area, but what we have now is very underprotected.
So I can't answer the question specifically as to how it's going to be covered. They will have to pay the impact fees and everything, and it's up to
Can you get back to us and let us know?
Well, I was going to say, email district1@ocfl.net. I have got many updates from our Orange County Fire and Rescue. Does a really great job. We have 4 new stations in District 1 coming on board. So, and I can get you a lot of specifics on the timeline.
I don't think there's a fire truck that can get through the roads at the Ascend Apartments.
Totally different question.
I'm serious.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I just have 2 more points to make, just based on previous comments. Like you said, that it's a done deal. It's not a done deal. A couple of us had a meeting. We saved half of our town center from having storage up there. That was almost ran through. So 4 of us in the first meeting were able to put that to a hold so that we could have a community meeting like this, which was not done to begin with. And then on the second meeting, I think there was about, most of the room was filled with residents. About 11 of us spoke, and we put a stop to that. So we saved our square center. So it's not a done deal, but you have to fight for it. So that's all that I have to say. You have to show up. It's an inconvenience, but you have to drive downtown and make your voice heard.
Hi, I'm Wade Herndon, and I go to this school, and I'm in 5th grade, and I ride my bike or walk to school every single day. And I was already worried about getting hit by a car even before this Publix came in. And now the school is even more busier, and this area is more busier because of the Publix. And I am glad that it's here, but we don't need even more traffic and stuff, because that just worries all the kids. And yeah.
Is that your name, Wade? Thank you for coming out, and thank you for being an involved citizen in your community. You're going to be a great contributing adult. Thank you so much.
So that's probably the first time I've had that good of a timing in terms of the questions and answers, because we do have to wrap up.
I want to thank the residents in this area for spending another evening with me. One of these days, we're just going to do it for fun, right? So I really appreciate you all and the thoughtfulness with which you come and the wide ranges of experiences that you brought to me. I know so many of us got here not so long ago, but I also know that with that comes a lot of expertise, a lot of knowledge, and a lot of heart. So my hope is from here, we can continue some dialogue. I will just be very honest. I was hoping to get more information to the residents sort of about some of the conceptual ideas for how we would maybe be able to integrate this in a way that would be a benefit to the gentleman that asked, how is this going to benefit me? So I think there's still a lot of questions to be answered, and that's why we're here, right? Is to make sure we understand what the concerns are and what next steps are. So if you have not signed in, my number one request is that you sign in so that we have a record of exactly how many residents were engaged here and that still want more information. My number two request is that you take some time to go to either email me, district1@ocfl.net, or NicoleWilson.org to make sure that you're getting our email updates, because we will have those next steps laid out. My number three is just kind of to reinforce what Jason said. I am part of a board. And so what that means is that some of the people that ultimately will make the decisions that we are all concerned about, not just for this, but for everything, they maybe haven't been here, maybe haven't been here in years. And so, you know, for them to understand a little bit, I think a kind note of concern without being, you know, I think this room, everyone was very civil and I believe very respectful. And I think that is how we can be effective in getting what we want. And so I appreciate the people that have already reached out to me. Once again, this is very, very early days in getting this information to you all. So what I am gonna set right now as my own goal is to come back, listen to some of these questions, and if it's okay with the applicant, maybe put forward some kind of a Q&A type of FAQ Q&A, so that people who maybe weren't here can go back and look at the questions and the issues that came up here. And then hopefully the applicant will have some ability to respond in, you know, whatever capacity they can. And if there are things that I can respond in, like what fire stations are coming or what the timelines are for any of the roadway agreements, that we can fill in the blanks with that. And then, so that'll be sort of next steps from here. But thank you again for coming out. I really appreciate your time. Oh, we got another.
Can we set up another community meeting before the BCC meeting so we can actually go over the planning and see actually the concepts and have those questions answered? I think that would also help, you know, preparing for the BCC meeting.
Let me get with planning team and figure out those sort of the timeline next steps. I know that there was some undetermined dates up there. And the second I've got something calendared, you know, I'll throw it out and let you know about it. So I think, you know, once again, sort of getting to the comfort of what the next is going to be, right? Because we don't have these TBDs. So that'll hopefully give us some more opportunity to get input and to make sure that we're working out any of those questions.
Since you get a proportional 1,400 units, how many units have Braxton?
I'm so sorry.
Do you know how many units?
In Braxton Waterley, how many units?
How many apartments in Waterley?
Braxton.
Waterley. It's being built.
Yeah, I don't know, but I can get that. We're recording this, so that'll be added to the things that I can fill in the blanks on. Or if for some reason I don't get that, email me and we can get you all of that information, because it's all, I mean, obviously this setting is for this applicant, so we want to make sure that we're kind of addressing this, but we can get you that information.
Well, I think he's trying to think of, when you see Braxton Waterley, it's going to be this new development.
Right, to get a visual, right. I totally get the value.
Based on all this, I believe Braxton Waterley is 354 units, and then Vintage Horizon West is 340.
So it'll be about 4 times this.
So,
That was
okay. All right, so stay tuned. You will get more information from us. Hopefully we'll get more information from the applicant. I appreciate your time.